Hello, I'm Watt Key, and I'm here today to talk about my new book, Beast. And I wanted to show you around the farm where everything happened and tell you a little bit about some inside information on the author's note at the back of the book where I had my experience. And I had never seen anything like a Bigfoot before, but I did have this experience, and I thought I would share that with you all. And helping me today is my daughter, Mary Michael. Say hey, Mary Michael.
Hey guys!
And Mary Michael's going to be following me around and helping me with this project. You see here we have my family farm that has been in our family since 1867. Mary Michael's showing you what we call the big house. And then over here we have what we call the smokehouse. And my great-great-grandfather started this farm, and that was the original building, just the one little part on here, over here on the left, and then my great-grandmother added on this other part of the building later in the 1930s as just sort of a place to entertain. And this other house here was originally a carport, but they turned it into what we call the big house after the original big house burned. There were actually two previous houses here. And Mary Michael, if you can show them the sugar kettle, that is the middle of a teardrop loop where the original home was. And then later they built a house over there. After the first home burned, the second home was built over there, what we call the Garden of Memories now. And that house burned on my grandmother's wedding night, and that's when they converted the carport into the main house. So we're going to take you around today and show you the woods and show you where this happened. Okay, so we're headed over here to the equipment shed where we keep four-wheelers, and we also have what we call the dollar truck, which I leave up here and my friend gave me for $1. And so we like to drive the truck around and use it as a farm truck. So these are the woods over here, and most of this farm is, well, I would say about half of it is row crop, and then the other half is woods. And nobody goes into these woods much. It's the farmers are out here, you know, during planting season, but nobody spends a lot of time in the woods except for me and my brothers, and we hunted a little bit in the hunting season. So usually it's too wet to get over there with a truck, and we have to use four-wheelers. But we're gonna be able to drive pretty close to where we're going today. And we were actually, Mary Michael and I were walking around in the woods today looking for deer sheds, and there were so many water moccasins that we decided to stop doing that. This is, we're in March right now, and it's just now starting to get warm and the snakes are coming out. So we're going to have to be careful walking around in the woods today, and hopefully we won't have any problems, but we're going to be careful anyway. And we're actually going to be going right back in there, but we're going to have to kind of go around the long way. And we're coming up here on the church. This is the old church that has been here for, well, I guess ever since my great-great-grandfather established the place. And there used to be houses. I remember when I was about 6 years old coming up here, there were tenant houses all up and down this road. And we never had slaves on this place. It was after the Civil War, they did have indigenous Indians that worked here, and they helped with the farming. But we're going to also be probably going through one of the old cemeteries that was here that a lot of the farm workers would bury their relatives in. And that's always been kind of a spooky place, and coincidentally it's kind of near where we're going to need to go today. And we've kind of had some weird things happen there on coon hunts and things like temperature changing, and if you believe in ghosts and things like that, you might tend to think that some things go on over there. But I'll show it to you. We're going to be there in just a minute. So here we are. We're going to be walking in these woods right here, and we're going to be going through a little cemetery, and then we're going to find this stand that I was hunting in on the day that the incident happened to me, that we're going to talk about on the way. So this is the kind of thing we were looking for today. This is a deer shed. It's basically a deer antler that fell off. They started losing their antlers about 2 weeks ago, and this is a small, looks like a 1, 2, 3, it would be a 6 point. You don't ever find both at the same time because they don't fall off at the same time. And I've always thought it was pretty amazing that a deer can grow a whole new set of horns between now and about October. And that's always seemed pretty incredible to me. It seems like it might hurt. But we're going to keep walking this way. We're in the Mississippi Delta, which is mostly hardwoods. You're not going to see a lot of pine trees, mostly a lot of oaks, and it's real gray usually. We've got a little bit of green right now because it's getting a little warmer and springtime's coming, but for the most part it's still pretty gray and will remain that way year round. You can see some of these sunken in areas like this, and that's where somebody was buried at one point. And this used to be a cemetery for some of the people that worked here, some of the farm workers, and they probably had a church near here somewhere, and over the years the church has been torn down or rotten or fallen in or something, and the cemetery is still here. There's not much left of it, but you can still see the headstone here. And I don't know if it says anything on it or not. If it does, I can't read it. Here's one, and then here's another one over here. Yeah, it's just, there's not much left. But there's the bottom of it. And I think that's about all there is to this, but we're gonna kind of keep walking this way. And we're gonna get to where the stand was, where I had my experience.
Right.
It's kind of wet back here. And this is the kind of stuff we're worried about because this is what the water moccasin's like. And so we're moving slow through this, hoping that if we do see one, that it's gonna scoot out of the way. Ran across a little snake. I don't know if you can see him. He's not poisonous, but they still scare you just the same. Let's see if we can make him move. He didn't want to move. He moved a little bit. Anyway, there he is. Right there's a little water snake. So this is the stand I was in that day. As you can tell, the woods have gotten bigger. The trees are bigger here. We call this the Big Woods part of the property. And what happened was, it was about this time of day. I'd come for the afternoon hunt, and I'd gotten up in the stand. I got there about 3 o'clock, and it was probably about an hour before dark. And the woods just got really quiet. and I'd never, it's kind of got an eerie feeling about it, because usually you hear squirrels and birds and those types of things pattern in the leaves, and everything just got really still. So I got real discouraged about a successful hunt. I figured that there probably wouldn't be any deer out. So I decided that I was going to come on down out of my stand and walk to another part of the woods and try to get in some hunting before it got dark. So I came down out of the stand, and I've been hunting these woods most of my life, and I know I can find my way around in these woods in the dark. I never get lost out here. So I started taking off that way, and I was just walking real slow. And the next thing I know, it seemed like I'd been walking about 30 minutes, and I ended up right back here in the same spot. Somehow, either I'd gone in a circle or I'd never left. I don't really know. But it was kind of disturbing. So I took another way out of the woods, and I got back to the house, and a bunch of my buddies were there, and I didn't really talk about it just because it was kind of weird. I mean, what do you say? And it wasn't too long after that that I was driving along listening to a radio program about Bigfoot, and they talked about something called infrasound, that they were interviewing a fellow who had claimed to have seen a Bigfoot, and he said that it had emitted a sound or some type of sound at a frequency that is hard to detect, that confused him and got him disoriented. How much truth to that there is to that, I don't really know, but it got me to thinking about that day. And a lot of these witnesses that talk about seeing a Bigfoot will talk about how the woods go really quiet. And I'd had both of those things happen to me. The woods had gotten eerily quiet, no animal sounds, it's like everything had hidden away. And then I had left my stand and had gotten very confused and ended up going in a circle. And I don't even remember my, where I went. I remember hearing my footfalls on the leaves as I was walking, but I don't really remember anything else. It's like I lost my memory for 30 minutes. So who knows what there is to that? But it got me to thinking and interested in this story this guy was telling about Bigfoot. And so I started reading a little bit about it, and I thought it would be kind of cool to write a book about it and use infrasound as one of the features in the book. So now you have a little bit of behind the scenes of where I got the story for Beast.